to make a 5-part series here today. Man, I look haggard. Where you buy fuel, we're going to talk about the truck and whether it's the right truck for you. We're going to talk about ways to basically shave some cost off of what you're doing so that you can make more money here at Super Ego. So I hope this helps you guys. It's going to be 5 short videos, all under a minute long. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you get a little something out of it. If you have any questions, holler at me. First is going to be your cost per mile. If you don't know how to calculate your cost per mile, I have a video out on there on TikTok and YouTube both about how to calculate it. You can also Google it. Basically, you take all of your costs for a week, you take your average miles that you run, and you divide them, and that's going to tell you how much you cost per mile. If you are taking loads for under that, you are losing money. It's that simple. Your cost per mile could be $2 a mile. Your cost per mile could be $1.60 a mile. Mine is $1.62 a mile. That's including paying myself 20 cents a mile plus 20 cents a mile for my maintenance fees or maintenance savings. So you need to figure out that cost per mile, and you need to make sure that your runs that you're getting are over that by at least 10%. So if you're $2, you need to be making $2.20 a mile. If you're $1.60, you need to be making $1.76 a mile, if that makes sense. It gives you a little bit of money, a little bit of overhead over what you're paying yourself already, so that way your company is actually making money. Everybody's favorite subject is fuel consumption. The obvious ones: keep your foot out the pedal, right? If your foot's in that pedal, you're spending money you don't have to spend. But the other thing that people don't really look at is your runs. Make sure that you're watching where you're running. If you're catching just a ton of runs up through the Smokies or running up on up through Snoqualmie or something, you're going to be spending a ton of money on fuel. So whereas you may get $2.20 a mile to make that run that goes up to Snoqualmie, you're only going to make $1.80 a mile on it because you're only getting 4 miles of the gallon running through the pass. So there things like that. Look at where you're running, look at how you're running, keep your foot out of it, and don't idle your truck, guys. I can't tell you how many people I've seen at truck stops that get out of their truck and their truck's just idling while they're putting fuel in. It's like you're burning fuel to put fuel in. That's stupid. Just shut your truck off. If that truck is not moving in a forward trajectory, shut the motor off. That's it for that. Now for your fuel stops. I know a lot of you guys have to use the fleet card. I've done an experiment over the last few weeks where I've done nothing but use the fleet card just to see how much the difference is between using the fleet card and using my personal credit card or my business credit card to pay fuel. It's about a 3% difference, 3 to 5%, depending on what area of the country you're running in. So it definitely does save you money over the long run to not use the fleet card if you can afford it. But if you have to, just make sure that you're using that Pilot app, and when you route plan, when you figure out where your route is, use the Pilot app and find out where the cheapest places are. Because you could there's a place in Tennessee where it's literally $4.29 a gallon, and then I think it's like 18 miles 19 miles up the road, it's $3.90 a gallon, both at Pilots. And if you're driving through that area and that's where the price is, you're going to skip the one and go to the next one. Otherwise, you'd look at that $4.29 and think it's pretty good. Now let's take a step back. Let's look at your what your cost per mile is. Let's see if there's anything that you can do to take some cost out of that. Are you paying yourself too much out of pocket? Are you saving too much for maintenance? Are you saving too much for your PMs? Are you saving too much for tires? Are you saving too much? There's a lot of things. Start looking at what you're putting away and where you're putting it, and start seeing where you can cut that money out. Do you have a Netflix subscription that you use once a week, instead of every night? Let's get rid of those things. Think about the Dave Ramsey. You're eating beans and rice, rice and beans. You're trying to save as much money as you can so you can get to the point where you are buying your own fuel with cash, so you're paying the lowest possible price, saving the most amount of money. And lastly, the ugly truth about your truck. Can you afford that $750 a week payment? Can you afford your $600 a week? Can you pay your $400 a week? You really have to ask yourself if the truck you have is too much truck for you, or is it not enough truck for you. I've recently gone over all of my bills and realized I can step up to about a $650 a week truck from my $250 a week truck. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to step up and hopefully have a little bit better fuel economy. I'm taking that into account. I'm getting 5 miles of the gallon. In this old one, I'm going to get 10 miles, not literally, but you see what I'm saying. You're going to figure out which one is getting you the better fuel economy, which one's going to get you the least amount of problems for you So really, if you don't need a $750 a week truck and you're barely making any money, it's time to reassess where you're at. I hope this stuff helps you guys, and I hope you make a little bit more money or a lot more money. So until next time, take care.